Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Eric Schmiel. Thank you for joining me tonight. Now, you might have noticed it's been a little bit since we've talked one-on-one like this in quite the proper fashion. I did do a little improvisational thing a few weeks ago, although who am I kidding? It's all improvised regardless. But we hadn't sat down and had a proper chat. Now, why is this? Honestly, I've had a few chances to try and make something like this, but every single time I've had trouble getting going, getting started. I will say part of it is I have been kind of on this nocturnal schedule for the last couple of weeks, just up all night and sleep all day, and it's kind of hard to jump and yell, and I'm not really jumping all that much, but the point is I'm talking rapidly, fastly, and unself-consciously without worry of who I may be waking. You can't really talk to your full capabilities when other people are asleep. It's just good manners. But part of it, too, is I just had trouble getting started, getting motivated. I've been unable to just bring myself to turn the camera on. There's this thing. I believe there is a great momentum to creativity. And I think there is this genuine and somewhat justified fear that if you take a break, you might not ever start again. I think it's very similar to that kind of just where you just work endlessly, constantly, that someone that works in a freelance field or for themselves sometimes find themselves engaged in because they never know when the work's going to dry up. So you better get in as much as you can. And I feel like people get like that with creativity too, or at least they can. I feel that way myself. And honestly, I took a break for a bit, and that fear's kind of proven true a little bit. I've had a little trouble getting started again, getting started making stuff again. It's this fear of getting started. It really is, of making that first step. It's not just with video, you're sitting there with the camera and you just can't bring yourself to start that record button. Or you're staring at a blank page with a pen and you can't bring yourself to make that first line, right? You just stare at it and it stares back at you and you just can't take that first step. There's just this weird kind of fear holding you back. It's weird, right? And it's not just creative stuff, though. Honestly, it's anything you might want to do. Heck, I got that feeling back when I was job hunting a few years ago, right after college. Sitting there, looking at Craigslist, thinking to myself, okay, I really need to apply for a bunch of jobs today. But God, it was just so hard to just start sometimes, right? It's just so hard to actually start writing on that first application, start writing that first cover letter. It's so hard to make that first step. Or maybe you have some big at-home project you need to take care of. Maybe you got to clean out a garage or something like that. And you just can't get yourself to make that first step. It's this inertia, this whole Newtonian notion of an object at rest will stay at rest, And it's really, there's no easy way to get past it. The truth is, you just gotta make yourself start. And it's the most difficult thing in the world sometimes. It's phenomenal how you can want to do something so badly with all your heart, and make all the sacrifices for time, cancel plans, say, no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, tell people, no, I can't go do that thing with you, make all these sacrifices, and then that time comes around that you've set aside, and you just don't do it. And it's just wasted for nothing. You sacrifice for nothing. But I feel like it happens very often, and I'm fairly certain it's not just me. But the truth is, there's no magic bullet to it. You just kind of have to start. You have to stop being afraid. Or no, you don't have to stop being afraid. That's the thing with courage. You never have to not be afraid. You just have to act anyways. You just have to let that fear not stop you. So, go ahead and be afraid. As long as you actually start, be afraid all you want. Just start. And then you can get going again. God, it can be so hard to start. Honestly, beginnings by their nature are impossible, really. If you look back to the problems mankind has struggled with since the beginning of thought, we've always wondered, how did anything start? How could anything begin? It's always seemed baffling that there is this first action that set everything in motion. Because, a very basic idea is that there is a cause and there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. And every cause, there is an effect. And since all these things that we see around us are the effect of something, there must have been some kind of cause to cause it. And And saying that there's some kind of cause that wasn't caused by something else is just, I guess, unpalatable to the way we reason about the world. We come up with explanations. Very often, God serves as our explanation for that. And in the absence of that, we just accept that there is no beginning. That there's just this infinite regression, that there's an infinite series of causes, and that there is no beginning. The whole notion of beginnings themselves are just unpalatable. They're just almost unreasonable. So, if you're having trouble starting this, yeah, it's just the same old, right? I remember one of the arguments I heard back when I was studying philosophy back in college was the issue with the, I guess, philosophy of religion. I'm sure there's a finer term for it. And I don't think theology is the right word, because I think that's more about, I guess, a specific system, rather than talking about the whole system of just having a religion at all. Well, I never know if I'm actually saying it right anyways. That's why I don't talk to other philosophy people, because they can't correct me. Don't give them the chance. No. The issues was that the problem is that the definitions of God, anytime someone tries to solve some philosophical problem involving God, that they oftentimes wind up with a definition of God that is so far-reaching and bizarre and abstract that is no longer recognizable as, what we normally think of as a God in just kind of normal speaking terms, right? In the same way a pastor would talk about God in church, right? The mental gymnastics philosophers had to go through almost make the whole concept of God into this weird, completely different thing that we wouldn't even call a God otherwise, other than as an excuse to try to solve this one conceptual problem. But there have been some interesting ideas from that, and one definition of God that really struck a chord for me that I found to be personally fascinating, was the idea of God as the uncaused cause. And having that be, what is God? The cause that was no effect, the beginning. Because, in a very real sense, you got two options when it comes to the beginning of everything, right? Something either started it, or there is no beginning, and it's just always been. And neither of them make much sense. But we're going on a bit of a tangent. Point is, beginning sucks, but it's necessary. And I've been very tempted. No, not tempted. I've been scared off for a bit now from starting many things, including these videos. So this video is my way of telling that to just feck off. I can't cuss like that. To just go fetch a stick, scrape a cheese, go push a boulder, go lean on a wall. There you go. You know what I mean. I'm not going to let my fear of starting keep me from starting. And to do that, and so we're going to start any way we can. This is what we did. So that's what we're doing. We're breaking the streak. Let's get back to making shit. And like, comment, and subscribe. Cool guy and stuff. I just kind of stepped on into this end screen and just wobbled about. Just wobbling about. No plan. Just wobbling, and it's showing. I don't need 2 feet. Yes, I do.